it could be a contractor, general contractor, could be a postal worker, UPS driver. These are people who need functionality in their physiology to get through their workday. And so what happens to these people when they retire? So you work with gymnasts, let's say the average age of retirement in gymnastics is 18, let's say. You may know that statistic. Do you happen to know if there is an age that's the average age?
Well, you're right. It has been definitely on the women's side for sure, a sport traditionally and typically assigned to younger children, teenagers, and usually if they haven't gone on to collegiate gymnastics, they pretty much wrap it up, concluding high school. Yep. But more and more that is starting to change, and part of it is the NIL provisions that the NCAA has come up with. That there is finally some money to be had in the sport as an elite athlete, and I think with more modern thinking about strength and conditioning, injury prevention, and rehab, more and more athletes are continuing to take their career into their 20s, mid-20s. So, for example, right now, Jordan Childs, who is on the last Olympic team and is competing NCAA, she is coming back to elite training. Jade McCary, who's at Oregon and was on a world championship team, is going to give collegiate gymnastics a break for a season and going to train for the upcoming Paris Olympics. And we've got Gabby Douglas, of all people, who was on the 2012 Olympic team. She's returning to training. So, and there's some other gals who are kind of on the fence right now, but have went from elite to NCAA and are now considering coming back to elite. So, I think the paradigm is changing a bit, and we're starting to see maybe some more older athletes or athletes who are getting older continuing in the sport. So, which I think is a great, really great for the sport.
So in the news that I had following gymnastics quite a bit in the 70s and the early 80s, when we had Wide World of Sports and we had coverage of gymnastics maybe 6 times a year on general issue television coverage, and then the Olympics popping up every 4 years. So I could follow them pretty closely. And so the recollection I have to the Soviet era Bulgarians, the United States, et cetera, is that when the females came into development and they got broader hips and shoulders and reproductive organs, and things got a little bit more complicated. Of course, a reproductive female, go back to the hunter-gatherers, what did the tribe want? They wanted women that had adipose tissue on them. They wanted people who could survive when they didn't have a good hunt for 8 days. So that's the normal evolution of women, is to amass adipose tissue over time. And it's certainly when you start to become 13, 16 years of age, that's when you're developing into the childbearing age. And so that's what I thought kicked females out of gymnastics by the time that happened, which could have happened at 15 or 18 or somewhere in there.